You up on trades and why you move? You ain't designed to lose. Find you jumping over seemingly nothing, racking up points, makes the game a little more fun to watch. Can drop release. We started with the mock draft and now we making a mockery of the leaderboard. Quite obviously not a scrub, so started institute, make evaluations like a commissioner do. It's to the point your wife make you watch in a different room. Update your roster and pick and choose when you get some news. Not much that we enjoy more than sipping brew, sifting through new statistics to make it to our end zones through different routes. Universities, institutes, down to homies who click in groups. I introduce you to the Stu and JT Brew.
Let's move on to the NFC South, what is expected to be one of the worst divisions in football. Atlanta right now is plus 250 and plus 260 to win the division, sitting at over 8.5, right at plus 110 and minus 110. The unders at minus 130 and minus 110. John, this is a tough team for me to decide where they're going to be at. I love the Bijan Robinson pick. I know a lot of other people don't, but I think he was perfect for this fit. I've got him in that 8, 9, 9, and 8 range. I feel like that 8 wins is right on.
I got him at 9 and 8 too. I'm not really sure why. I feel like you're dogging the Falcons a little bit, and I'm not sure why. I think they're underrated right now. They're another team I believe is underrated.
I agree with you. I do think they're underrated. I think Ritter is a big question mark. I'm not an anti-Ritter guy. I think he's got a chance to be solid. I like the pieces they're putting together in a bad division. I think the schedule lines up with them having a lot of toss-up games, which I always think is going to work in your favor. I'm at 9-8-8 with them too. I think this is a decent team. I feel like that 8.5 wins is right on. So I'd be tough taking that line either way, but I think this team and I think 9 and 8 is going to you're going to be in it in that division.
Yes, 100%.
Moving on, Panthers are the next team up. They're plus 380, plus 350 to win division. They're sitting at 7.5 wins, minus 135 and minus 122. The under at 7.5 is plus 115, plus 100. So Vegas likes the over. 7.5 a little bit. John, I was right there on that mark. I've got the Panthers at 7 and 10.
I got them at 6 and 11. Andy Dalton probably starts the season. They bring in Bryce Young later when they decided it's time to move on. But this team's actually, they're not bad considering they tried to start a rebuild and then decided they didn't want to do a rebuild anymore. They started signing players. But I think, again, like some of these teams do, I'm not sure what happened this year during the draft. Teams feel like they need to spend too much to get players. You can't give up 2 and 3 first-round picks to get players. Like I don't know why they traded away so many assets to get the 101 here. I'm not. They must really, really, really love Bryce Young. But when you start a rebuild or you're part of a rebuild, you can't be giving away all these first-round picks for one player. This is something you do when like it's a generational quarterback, like a Trevor Lawrence or like Andrew Luck or something like that. Bryce Young is not like generational, I don't think.
Yeah, that's a tough thing for me. I think he's a good quarterback. I'm worried about him staying healthy. I kind of like what the Panthers have done this offseason. I like their coaching staff. I just think, honestly, the schedule works a little bit against them, where it works a little in the Falcons' favor. I think the Falcons have some easier home games, things like that. I feel like this is going to be a jumble division again. I feel like it's going to come down to a tiebreaker or a one-game division. Yes. Like I said, I've got them right now sitting at 7 and 10. You had them 6 and 11. I could see them winning 8, 9 if one of these teams really kind of puts it together. But I don't know if I see anybody in this division winning more than 9 games. I feel like the first to 9 wins this division.
Yeah, right.
And I think the Saints are right in the same boat. Next team, they're plus 115 and plus 125 to win the division. So right now they're the favorites. Their over under record right now is 9.5. It's plus 105 and plus 106. The under is minus 125 and minus 132. So they have the highest win total, but Vegas is leaning towards the under 9.5 wins. I think this is, again, another 9 and 8 team. I was struggling to find some Saints wins where there's some games I think they could win, but I had them losing. I think it all comes down to how Derek Carr meshes with this team and how he plays. I had them at 7 and 10 as well. But like I said, I could easily add 1 or 2 wins, take 1 or 2 wins off because this again, a lot of games in the schedule really close.
I got him at 7-10 myself. Lots of wild cards here. Good defense, really good defense. But without Michael Thomas and possibly Kamara to start the season off for first, 6 games or something like that. Michael Thomas just got what he said. He got his screws taken out yesterday or a couple days ago. He's not guaranteed to come back either. If you lose 2 superstars like Thomas and Kamara to start the season off, I'm not sure. Even with Derek Carr, I'm not sure where this team goes. So I got him at 7-10, and it feels a little optimistic to me, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I took 7-10. I felt like I should have had them better, but then I felt like 7-10 was kind of optimistic, to be honest with you. So yeah, I think that's going to come down to that win. That's why I kind of like the money on Atlanta to win that division, just because you're getting those little extra odds on them. Last team in this division, everybody's down on them. Nobody likes them. No Tom Brady anymore. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are plus 700 on DraftKings, plus 550 to win the division on FanDuel. They're sitting at over 6.5 wins, plus 110 on the over, plus 105 from FanDuel. Under is minus 130 and minus 128. Vegas feels like they're an under team. I feel like they're a way under team. This is another team that I think I'm probably putting heavy money on the under 6.5 wins. I just don't see how they get to 7. I mean, I was fighting to get the Saints to 7. I don't think this team is as good as the Saints. I got them at like 2-15, 3-14, John. I don't think they're as bad as the record, but again, I don't think the schedule works very well in their favor. And I just think the whole Baker Mayfield, Trask, who's going to start, how well are they going to play thing is going to be an issue. I could see Baker coming in and actually playing pretty well and keeping them in games, but I could also see it just completely blow up, and this team just takes a dive.
You said 2 and what? 2-15,
3-14. I'm looking at the schedule and I'm just like, are they better than that team? I'm like, are they better than that team? I have them losing the first 2, 4, 5, 6. I have them losing the first 7 games and then winning at the Texans. So after that, I'm like, you're 1-7. How much are you going to keep fighting? Then they got to play at home against the Titans. That's a toss-up game. I have the Titans winning that one. They're at the Niners. That's a loss. I feel like they're losing at the Colts. The Panthers at home is a toss-up game. I feel like they lose at the Falcons. I lose at the Packers. They lose to the Jags. I have them losing to the Saints, and I have them losing again to the Panthers. So if they split with the Panthers and they split with the Saints, that gets them to 4 wins. And if they split with the Falcons, gets them to 5 wins. I just don't know how they get to 6 or to 7. That's why I'm all under. Even if I split them in the division with everybody, I think they can't get to 6 wins.
Yeah, I got them at 6-11 is what I was kind of like, I feel like they're a 17 win, but I put them at 6-11 because they're scheduled. But I just feel like this is in the hands of Baker Mayfield. If Mayfield comes in and actually starts producing with the talent around him, hey, so be it. That might be where my 7 wins come from, and 6 might be optimistic on my part too. But I am at 6-11. I just hope that they don't win 6 games because I want them to go halfway through the season, realize that this is just falling apart. We have to start from scratch, and then trade Chris Godwin to the Bears. So okay, have Chris Godwin on the slot, DJ Moore on the outside, Mooney on the outside, and then maybe even somebody else better next year. As far as that goes. So. I would love to see that happen where they just broke apart the Buccaneers, started from scratch across the board, and the Bears get better because of it. Then I'd start rooting for the Bears again, but it would take a move like that for it to happen. But 6-11, I guess, is me just seeing how much talent is on this team and what they have to work with. But I can see them losing. I can see them being a 4 or 5 win team for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I just think it's a bad division. Even if all those teams split, I think 8 wins maybe wins that division. 9 wins if the Falcons can get there, but it's going to be close. So a little recap here is we're past the 2-hour mark. We got to get moving here. I will be posting all this stuff on my Twitter page, so make sure you check me out at JT Orange. I'll go through, break down what we had, our win-loss records. I'll have all the DraftKings and FanDuel's spreads, and I'll put together a little JT parlay play of the day later today. I'm going to put a little parlay together of my favorite underdogs to win the division. Put a little parlay together. I got a monster one for you. A huge return. That's obviously going outside the box on that one, but I've got a few of those. I'll post those up for you. John, tell everybody real quick where they can find you.
You can find me this week on the Stew with JT Brew, which is a fantastic. Thanks for having me here, brother. Really appreciate it. I have the Commissioner Evaluation Show, which Justin is regular on all the time. Fantastic. One of the best decision I ever made is to have JT come on once a week or once every couple of weeks and kind of join me on there. I'm on a Twitter machine at John McGlynn 75. I usually go on there and post some stuff that I think is important to me anyway. So Twitter's my own little thing. I have a great time on there. I have great interactions. And thanks for having me on here today, JT. This is an absolute blast. And this show has gone longer than any of my shows you've been on, just so you know, I think so.
I knew we were going to have a hard time getting this thing down. I knew it was going to be tough. I know it is me. It's totally me. It's totally me. I'll take the blame on that. You can find me on Twitter at JT Orange. You can also find the show's Twitter page at JT Brew Stew. You can always check us out on Dynasty Pros Football on the YouTube channel there, also on the Apple Podcast and Spotify. Thanks for joining us here on the Stew with JT Brew. May all your draft picks hit and all the trades never quit. Thanks so much for having us. Thanks, John, again for joining us here. We'll see you guys next time.
You up on trades and why you move. You ain't designed to lose. Find you jumping over seemingly nothing. Racking up points makes the game a little more fun to watch. Can drop release. We started with the mock draft and now we making a mockery.